I return here at the end of my days roving in the town. I sit on this mat all night and write. At dusk I go out to that pond and sit contemplating in the mandap. It's a very inspiring place. Margaya felt impressed and overawed, so he asked, as a piece of courtesy, I suppose that is your book.
You send it afterwards for printing? Yes, I hope to, said the other. He picked up the manuscript and handed it to Margaya.
Margaya received it with the utmost courtesy. The cover was of brown paper. He turned the last page and saw the number. Oh, 150 pages?
He asked admiringly. Yes, I want it to be a short book, so that any person may buy and read it. Margaya turned the pages and a chapter heading caught his eye, Philosophy and the Practice of Kissing.
Oh, kissing. You have written about kissing too. Yes, of course, it is an important subject.
Who kisses? Children or? Oh, children's kisses are of no account here.
Margaya felt interested, and turned to the title of another chapter, Basic Principles of Embracing. He turned over the pages and started reading the first sentence of the opening chapter. Man embraces woman, and woman embraces man. He felt interested. Briskly turning over the leaves, he came upon the title sheet and read out aloud, Bed Life or the Science of Marital Happiness.
What is this? Margaya exclaimed. You said it was
Sociology. Yes, this is a branch of sociology. I have spent many years studying this subject.
1,000 years ago Vatsyan wrote his Kama Sutra or Science of Love. I have based this whole work on it, plus research done by modern scientists like Havelock Ellis and so on. This subject must be understood by every man and woman.
If people understood and practiced this science, there would be more happiness in the world. But it seems to be all about, Margaya could not find the right word. He felt too shy.
He felt eager to read on, but put it away feeling that further inspection would seem undecorous. You can read it if you like, said the other. Margaya put it away as if avoiding a temptation.
You will have everything you want in a nutshell there. It seemed as if the other would not let him go. The author added, I want to have a few illustrations if I can find an artist.
What those? Illustrating those? Gasped Margaya. Yes, why not? I want to illustrate some of the parts.
I want it to be of practical benefit. I want it to serve as a guidebook to married couples. My aim is to create happiness in the world. Are you married?
Margaya asked, coming to the point. Yes, otherwise how could I write all that? But, you are alone, Margaya said, looking round.
Yes, I have to be. He seemed saddened by some domestic memory. Margaya's curiosity could no longer be kept in check. Where is she? He asked bluntly.
God knows, said the other. I have had to leave her. Why?
Why? Margaya said. How sad.
He sat brooding. The other said, she was an impossible woman, a terrible woman who was unfaithful, and tried to ogle every man who appeared before her. A woman with a polyandrous tendency.
Margaya was somewhat shocked at the free manner in which he spoke. The other laughed and said, How scared you look at my talk. Don't fear, I am not yet married.
Probably you are already thinking, how can this fellow write about the happiness of married life when he himself has been such a failure? Was it not the line of your thought? How did you guess?
Margaya asked. Everyone seemed to guess correctly what went on in his mind, a most dangerous state of affairs it seemed to him. I never married, the other assured him again.
But I only gave you a sample of what is likely to happen when people are ill-matched. True, said Margaya. Reading this book will be a way of preventing such tragedies, said Dr. Pal.
The next few days Margaya was lost to the outside world. He sat in the small room repeating, O goddess, who affordest shelter to all the fugitive worlds.
Thy feet, by themselves, are proficient in affording immunity from fear and bestowing boons. He had to repeat it 1,000 times each day, sitting before the image of the goddess. He wore a red silk dhoti and smeared his forehead and body with sacred ash.
The cries of the peddlers in the street were submerged in the continuous hum that proceeded from his own throat. His son's continued shout of, Appa! Appa! Was heard by him as a distant muffled sound. A little light came through the small opening of the shutter. The room was filled with the scent of incense, camphor, sandal dust, and jasmine.
All this mingled perfume uplifted the heart and thoughts of Margaya. He was filled with a feeling of holiness, engendered by the feel of the red silk at his waist. He was gratified at the thought of his wife's obedience.
She is quite accommodating, he reflected. She got up at 5 and prepared the jaggery sweetened rice which had to be offered to the goddess. As he sat down with his eyes shut, he said to himself, I have achieved difficult things: grey cow's milk butter, red lotus made into black paste. This time last week I could not believe that I should be able to get together grey milk and red lotus.
When the goddess wants to help a man, she sends him where all things are available, and who would have thought that there was a deserted garden? This brought to his mind Dr. Pal and his works. He felt an unholy thrill at the memory of Pal's book. It seemed as though his mind would not move from the subject.
This man wanted to put in pictures. What a wicked fellow. It'd be most awkward. Why was Dr. Pal interested in the subject? Must be an awful rake, if he could write all that and was unmarried.
Some of the chapter headings came to his mind. He realized with a shock what line his thoughts were pursuing, and he pulled them back to the verse. The priest had told him to let his mind rest fully on its meaning while repeating it. He kept saying, O goddess, who affordest, etc., and unknown to him his thoughts slipped out and romped about, chiefly about the fruits of the penance he was undertaking, 40 days of this, afterwards.
He visualized his future. How was wealth going to flow in? When he became rich, suppose he bought from his brother the next house too, tempting him with a handsome cash offer.
He realized that this was his major concern in life. He would be a victorious man if he could bring his brother to his knees and make him part with his portion of the house, and then he would knock down the partition wall. Each day it took him 8 hours of repetition to complete the 1,000, and then he reverently put the black paste on his forehead, lit the camphor, called in his wife and child and sprinkled the holy water on them.
His jaws ached, his tongue had become dry, he felt faint with hunger, since he had to fast completely while praying. He followed this course for 40 days. When he emerged from the little room, he had a beard and mustache and hair on his nape.
He had been told not to shave in the course of this penance. He looked venerable. His voice became weak. He could not utter any speech without automatically mixing it up with, O goddess, who affordest shelter.
He looked like an examination student who has emerged from the ordeal, sapped in every way but with his face glowing with triumph. Margaya had lost 10 pounds in weight, much of the padding on his waist and jowl had gone. *** Saraswati is the deity presiding over knowledge and enlightenment.